If you are tired of buying lists off the internet, cold calling people, and chasing people down only to get I don't really think I need this right now, or how did you get my number? This video is going to show you two types of lead generation that can dramatically increase your results. If you understand the principle that I share today, your lead generation results will 10x. Today, we're going to be covering one-step lead generation and two-step lead generation. Let's break it down. Now, one-step lead generation, you may be familiar with this. This is going to be your cold outreach. This is going to be your Instagram DMs. This is going to be your cold calling. Everybody does this, right? Everybody does this. And the thing about this is that if you're at the beginning stages of your business, this is going to be how you build it. Now, the thing with cold outreach, cold Instagram DMs, cold calling, the thing about it is that you're not getting explicit permission to reach out to these people. Now, if you're on a platform like Instagram and LinkedIn, the barrier to reach out to somebody is a little bit lower than reaching to somebody cold out of the blue. And this is because they've probably engaged with your content, or maybe you're liking some stuff, you're commenting on some stuff. Maybe you've sent a DM telling them that this post was great, etc. But what you need to understand is that this is a very active process, very important process, but a very active process. Now, are there more than these three things that I listed? Of course. But this is just to give you an overview so you can understand the concept and the difference between one-step lead generation and two-step lead generation, where most people don't do two-step lead generation. What's the difference? This is what we want to figure out. Now, the main strategy is you're setting up a net to collect client information. How does this work? Now, let's say you are a real estate agent and you're a real estate agent that represents sellers. But in the last 2-3 months, holidays have just turned out and people were with their families, and the eggs are $11 at the time of recording this video. What you want to do is you need to understand your customer pain points. That's a marketing term that we use to say, what does your client need the most? Now, if they're a seller, maybe they've owned the property for quite some time, they've been living there, but they don't know the true value of the property. The guide that you create could be hey, do you want to understand the value of your property guide? Now, when they download this, you're going to have an autoresponder system that is set up, and it's going to deliver the item to them. Here's what happens. You also build your list at the same time. And now you have permission to follow up indefinitely. You're going to follow up until you get a yes or until you get a no. And this is so important because as opposed to you buying a list, this person has voluntarily said, well, I want to know the minute that they click download, they say, I want to know the value of my home. Here are some prerequisites that you have to be aware of. The first one is you have to know who your customer is, right? I'll draw like 2 arrows to this. You have to know who your customer is. And I cannot like tell you how important this is. If you are brand new in business and you have 2-3 customers and you don't really know much about them, don't make assumptions. Even if you've been in business for 25, 50, 100 years, don't make assumptions. Pick up the phone and you ask them, what's going on right now? What's been some of the challenges you've been having? How have you been adjusting to the new market? Is there any? Ask them these questions, and it will yield you so much more benefits than making assumptions or doing a random Google search. Next, once you've identified the problem, this is what you're going to create. You're going to create a lead magnet. Lead magnet can be a video tutorial, guide, free training, etc. And then your autoresponder, this is what we spoke about. This is something that when somebody downloads your thing, it's just going to send them an email. And it's going to say, hey, here's the thing that you requested. And it gives you permission to send information. And what I always do in the bottom section of my emails, when somebody's ready to buy from me, there's a section in my emails that shows when you're ready to buy, There are three ways I can work with you. Book a free photo shoot consultation, you can book a free marketing consultation, or you can join one of my programs, right? Those three things are in every single one of my emails because guess what? Not everybody is going to buy right away. Now, that is the key difference between one step lead generation and two step lead generation. The very last thing that is going to be very important, especially if you're brand new to these concepts, you have to understand something that we call the customer journey. And this is going to help you to paint a picture because the thing about one step lead generation is like when you're outreaching to people and they're not ready to buy right now and they give you a no, sometimes you burn that relationship because you have no previous rapport. You haven't made any deposits yet. The thing about the two-step lead generation that I like is that you build value, you build equity, you build that rapport up front by giving something that they want because otherwise they wouldn't have downloaded it. Now, as it relates to the customer journey, what is this? I'm going to explain this to you in terms of something in marketing that we use called the AIDA framework or AIDA framework, however you want to call it. The AIDA framework is broken down into four parts. That is when somebody's in the awareness stage, so then now they're aware, wow, I want to sell my home, but I don't know what to do. They're interested, so now they're starting to look for people or look for information, and now they're trying to figure out how to go about this. Desire is where now they start taking those phone calls, and action is where they're ready to exchange money to really, really begin the process because everything else before you take action is just a precursor. Let's just be honest about that. Everything until you part with your money, everything else that you've done was just a setup because the real part of the process begins here, right? So this is really where you actually start. Everything else is just a precursor. Now, why is this important? If you can get somebody at the awareness stage, this is going to be so much more beneficial to you because you will be able to start influencing them from very, very early on in the process. Now, when somebody is interested and they're sifting through information and taking calls with vendors, chances are you're probably 4 people in line, 5 people in line, and you are really, you're not really getting the full, like they've been tainted, like this person told them that, sorry about that, another person told them something else, and now you're competing with other people. And now in business you'll always be competing with people, but if you get them at this awareness stage, you will have such a greater chance of really taking that prospect to the finish line. And that is the real big step, sorry, the main difference between one step lead generation and two-step lead generation. They are not the same. And the unfortunate part is that most people never get to setting up the two-step lead generation because they believe it's too much work. But if you understand the principle in what I shared today, where you want to get people to raise their hands as opposed to, hey, like, is there something you need right now? It will make a dramatic difference in how you approach business, even in how you reach out to people as well. And that is going to be so key for your business going forward because now you'll be putting yourself in a position where you can speak to people who have raised their hands and have given you permission to follow up with them until you get a hard no or a hard yes. And remember, the goal of working your leads is to get a very clear no or clear yes. Because if they give you a clear no, that means that you can just scratch them off the list and move on. But if they say, hey, look, I don't think I'm going to go in this direction right now, chances are you may get to work with them in a year, 2, 3, or 10 years from now. Because guess what? Sometimes that's just how long it takes for you to follow up with somebody to get that deal done. So I hope that this video helped. My name is Jordi-Lakeem Foster, the $1 Million Photographer. And let me know, guys, are you doing one-step lead generation or are you doing two-step lead generation? Let me know in the comments. And I'll see you guys in the next video.